Hi folks, welcome back for another Power Automate tutorial from ForTechSupport. I'm Adam Demont, and in this lesson we will walk you through the process of streamlining your invoicing process using the Microsoft Excel, Word, and Outlook connectors in a scheduled cloud flow within Power Automate. This can help you free up time to focus on growing your business. We'll cover every step of the process, including listing invoices with non-zero balances, retrieving client contact information, populating invoice templates, converting those templates to PDF, storing them in OneDrive, and sending them to the client via email. I'll also show you how to update your spreadsheet with the current invoice date and send a notification email to yourself, notifying you of the successful delivery of the invoice to the client. So go ahead and log into your Microsoft 365 account and hop over to Power Automate so we can get started. Before you start building the flow, you'll need 3 files, and as you can see, I've got those on the screen here. These are also available for download from my blog article that's associated with this video. That URL can be found in the description of this video as well. So let me run through what each of these files contain, and we'll start with clients.xlsx. This is, like I said, just a list of your client information with their contact information. I've got a column with a unique client number, client name. I got the email address the invoices go to and that person's name, and the address of the client and their city, state, and zip as well as their website. Once you have all that information, and you can just use this sample information if you're not ready to use your own client information yet. And for invoices, same thing. If you want to just use the sample information, you can see I've got the client numbers listed here that were associated with those clients that I had in the other list. And then I've got unique invoice numbers also. It shows an order date here, the date that they ordered these services. It says what the services are, the amount of hours, the rate for those hours, the amount due, and then the current balance. Once something's paid here, that will adjust it. So if I added 2,300 here, we've got a 0 balance. I'm just going to pretend nothing's been paid because these are all just fake clients anyway. You can also see the invoice date is blank because the invoices haven't been sent out for any of these invoice numbers yet. So let's go ahead and minimize that. And for this one, you'll want to use your own form, obviously, not mine, but if you want to use my form for this, just to follow along with this tutorial, that's fine. And like I said, that's available at the top of the description in this blog article as well. So let me run you through how this works. So we're going to use content control to get the variables into Power Automate. So you can see here I've got capital letters here, enter the client number here, and if I click on that, you can see client number above that. If I was to right click here and delete that, I'd be able to add it again, but I'll just pretend I'm going to add this one as a variable. You'll want to enable developer mode first. If you don't see that up in the ribbon, you can go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and then add it to the right side over here using the Add button, and make sure it's checked to enable it. Once you have that, go ahead and click on that. Select the variable or the text that you want to make into a variable. Let's pretend that I want to make that a variable for my business address. I'll select the text there, go up here to plain text content control, and then I can go into properties here and give it a name. I can say, ForTechSupport address or business address, however I want to name it. But I would give the same name to the title and the tag here. And if I go into one of these ones, and I'm not gonna save that anyway, but if I was to go into the properties, you'll see that both of these match. So once you have your document ready, or if you're going to follow along using mine, that's fine. Let's go ahead and get out of there. And then we can start building the flow. Once you have those 3 files saved to somewhere in your OneDrive. One quick thing I wanted to mention is you'll notice a diamond icon up here at the top. That signifies that there's a premium connector in this flow, the Microsoft Word connector specifically in this one. So you will need a premium license in order to build this flow, or at least a trial that Microsoft offers for the premium license. So once you have that license or have signed up for the trial, you can go ahead and get started in building this flow. So once those files are synced to your OneDrive, go ahead and open Power Automate from a web browser and click on the Create button on the left side of the screen. Once that page loads, you're going to want to click on Scheduled Cloud Flow and give it a name. For this one, you can just call it Send Invoices to Clients if you want. So something like that. You can give it today's date, or if you want to set a future date, you can do that as well. And then the time of day you want it to run. So I'm going to select 9 a.m. and I'm going to have it run once per day. And then click Create down at the bottom here. I've already created this flow, so I'm just going to edit the one that I already have and walk you through each of the steps. So once your flow loads, you'll see the recurrence up here at the top. Go ahead and click on that to expand it. Click Edit, and then go into the advanced options. This is where you can set your local time zone. I've already set mine to Pacific here. And if you want to set a specific date and time, you can put it in this format in this field here for start time. And then I'm going to have this run at 9 a.m. once per day. But if you want to run it multiple times per day, or have it run once per week, however you want to do it, you can change that in the recurrence up here as well. Once you have your trigger all situated, we can add our first action, which is list rows present in a Excel table, and I've already renamed that to get invoices with a balance. And you can see I've selected the location where I saved our sample files, the demo folder. I've selected invoices spreadsheet, the invoices table inside that spreadsheet. And then if I go into the advanced options, you can see I've set the filter query to balance NE 0. That means that the balance column does not equal 0. And all the ones that we saw in the invoices spreadsheet were negative numbers, so we know that all of these are not 0. And then the other thing is to get the right date time format, I set that field to ISO 8601. Otherwise it comes through in 5-digit numbers rather than a date format. So let's go ahead and collapse that. The next step is to add a condition. This will be for the invoice date field. So set that variable there on the left side is equal to, and then just leave the right side blank. So whenever that field is blank in that spreadsheet, it'll get past this part of the flow as well. So once an invoice is sent out, that'll be marked as sent on that date, so that'll no longer be blank. So if this was to run again, like tomorrow, it won't send the same invoice out again. After the condition is set, or actually once you add this variable here, you'll notice an apply to each action is added around that. And I've already renamed that to apply to each invoice with a balance. Under if no, we're not going to put any actions. Everything else will be listed under if yes, the invoice was not sent yet. So the first action under the if yes side is to list rows present in the clients table. And wherever you save that in your OneDrive, you'll want to select that file for clients and the table of clients inside that file. And I've renamed that action to get client contact information here. If you expand the advanced options, you can see I've set the filter query to client number with no space. That's one of my column names in clients. Equals EQ, and then in single quotes I put the variable for client number from the spreadsheet up here for the invoices. Under that action, we are going to add populate a Microsoft Word template, and you're going to select that template that you saved to your OneDrive. As soon as you add the first variable, let's say city here, that'll be from this spreadsheet. Just make sure you get it from the right one. Let me show you here. Above all the actions, you'll see what it comes from here, or this is the action here that all of these come from. So get client contact information. I can use all these variables here. So if I select city, make sure you get it from this one rather than looking through this one for it and not being able to find it. Once you add that first variable, whatever field it's in, you'll notice an apply to each is added around this, just like it happened with this condition up here. You can rename this apply to each unsent invoice, and then continue populating your template here. And you can see all the green ones here just use variables from previous steps, most of which are from the client contact information spreadsheet, other than the invoice number here and the description, which both come from the invoices spreadsheet. So just make sure you select those from the right action here. For the ones that are pink, those are all expressions, and these are all listed on my website if you want to copy them and paste them. I will also hover over these to show you what they look like in case you want to pause the video here, but some of these are very similar. Like this one is the same as amount due, grand total, and rate, other than you can see towards the end there where hours are in between single quotes. That's the only thing that changes between those expressions. So you see hours here in this expression. The only thing that changes between that expression and this one down here for rate is the word hours changes to rate. Same thing for amount due. Instead of hours, it changes to amount due. And then that one for amount due is actually the same exact as grand total, since I only have a single line item on my invoices. Then for the dates here, we've got, let's see, we've got invoice date. So we are getting today's date, so UTC now, and then I'm converting UTC now to the local time zone, which for me is Pacific Standard Time. And then I'm formatting it into that format of 2-digit month / 2-digit month / 2-digit day / 4-digit year. And then similar for due date, except for I'm adding 30 days to that. And you can see at the beginning I've added days, and then right after right before I enter the format for the date is where I add the amount of days I want to add to UTC now. So basically 30 days from now is when this invoice will be due. If yours is different than 30 days, you would just need to change the number 30 from this expression to whatever amount of days that you have. For order date, we are going to use the order date column from the invoices spreadsheet, and this is the expression you would use for that, as long as all of your steps were named the same as mine in this tutorial. So we're formatting the date and time of that column, and then we're putting it in that format of month, day, year. Once you have the template populated, we are going to create a file from that in OneDrive, and I'm just going to save it to that demo folder also. You can put it wherever you want. If you want to create a subfolder and put it there, that's fine too, but I just wanted to keep this simple so we can see them all in one spot. So we're going to create a docx file out of that template we just populated, and I just gave it a prefix of invoice underscore, and then selected the invoice number from the invoices spreadsheet, gave it a docx extension, and selected the body from the previous step here of populating the Word template. After you've created that file in OneDrive, we're going to convert it to a PDF. So go ahead and select the location where you saved it, or enter it here, and then select the name of the file from the previous step, create invoice.docx. The next step is to create an invoice in a PDF form. So we're going to basically do that the same as here, use the same prefix and invoice number, just change the extension here, and then instead of the body from populating the Word template, we're going to grab the body from converting the Word template or Word document to PDF. Once we have that saved as PDF in our OneDrive, we're going to delete the docx file that we created earlier in this step, and do that just by referencing it using the ID from that action. The next one is the next two are using the same ID from the create invoice.pdf action. The first one is grabbing the file content from that file, so we can use it, the body of the file. And then the next one is creating a share link, basically a web link that we can use to open the file in a web browser. And I set it to view only and only available to people in my organization. But if you wanted to make it anonymous, you could also, and you can set it to edit as well. And then I'm going to create a share link for the invoices spreadsheet also. You don't necessarily have to do this right here. You can do that up here if you want. So it only does it once rather than going through the applied action. But it's going to run so fast you're not going to notice much of a difference no matter where you put that particular action in your flow. Once you have that, we can go ahead and send our email to the client with the attachment, the PDF attachment. You'll want to expand the advanced options here, and you can see up here I've got invoice email from the client contact information spreadsheet in the to field. For the subject, I've added my business name, ForTechSupport, invoice number, and then selected the invoice number variable from the invoices spreadsheet. For the body, if you want to copy a sample from my website, you can. I've got that listed in code view, so make sure you select code view, paste it here, and then what's listed there, I have description and invoice number with brackets around them. Those are just kind of placeholders, so once you paste the body over, go ahead and just remove those and replace them with the variables from the invoices spreadsheet. So I've got description here and invoice number here. I'm going to be sending this from a shared mailbox instead of my own, so I've set that here. If you have access to a shared one that you want to send it from, you can do that here as well. And then for the attachment, we're going to use the name and body from the name from the create invoice PDF action, and the body from the get file content from that invoice.pdf action. So that's the first email we're going to send. That one goes to the client. So once that action happens, we'll know that the invoice was emailed to the client, and we can update our spreadsheet so that we know that. So we can update the invoice date column with today's date. So we're going to use UTC now, convert it to your local time zone, Pacific time in this example here, and then use that same date format that we've been using throughout this flow. And then under invoice link, I've added the web URL from the share link we created for the PDF file, the first web link that we created. The last step is to email ourselves confirmation that the invoice was emailed out. So you can see here, I've got my email address, invoice number, and then the invoice number variable from the invoices spreadsheet was sent to client name here. And then we got a sample email here in code view as well. And if you want to copy that from my website, you can too, and just do the same thing, replacing each of the what's set as placeholders, like for the brackets for each one of these, you can replace with the actual variables for like invoice number. You can get from the invoices spreadsheet, invoice email, and client name you can get from the client spreadsheet. This is from the invoice spreadsheet also, and these web links here, one is to the invoice that we just created in PDF form, and the other one is to the invoices spreadsheet, so we can see all the invoices, including a link to this one here. I'm sending that one from a shared mailbox as well, and then I'm doing the same thing here for the attachment. So I've got a web link to the attachment that's already been saved to OneDrive, and I'm attaching a copy of that as well, just in case. So that's it for the flow. Once you have that all set, we can go ahead and save it here, and we can test it out. So once that's saved, go ahead and back out. And we can go ahead and run this. Let me go ahead and open these files real quick. All right. You know what? Yeah, let me go ahead and close these, just so we don't run into any issues while it's running. But let me go ahead and open this folder here. Okay. I'll minimize that for a second. Let me run this. And then we'll go in here and we'll watch it running as well. Okay, so it's grabbed all 7. And if I open up this here, you can see we've got our first PDF here, and you can watch and you'll see each of the Word documents being created, and then a PDF file being created from that, and then that Word file being deleted afterwards. And you could probably hear the emails I'm getting in the background. That's each time a PDF email is sent out to me. So this probably take, I would say, 3 minutes or so, maybe 3.5 minutes to run. So I'm going to pause this video for now and wait for it to finish. Okay, it looks like it's on the last one now. So you can see the Word document here, number 7, and that Word document's gone. So we have all 7 now. Let's go ahead and minimize that. And this flow should finish running in just a few seconds. There we go. And no errors. So we can run through each one of these if we want. If you run into any errors, you'll see a red X here. And you can expand that action and run through each of these and try to figure out what caused that error to happen. Since no errors happened in this flow, I'm going to back out real quick and see how long it took to run. It only took 2 minutes and 6 seconds to send out those 7 invoices. So I'm going to pull those up now so you can see what they look like. So the invoices that went out to the client, you won't see those, but you'll be able to see what since those were going to just fake email addresses anyway, but the email address that went to me to confirm that those went out is right here. And you can see, if I click the invoice here to preview it, we've got the information for that invoice, client number here, invoice number, invoice date, 30 days from now for the due date. And then we've got the total down here with some payment information down at the bottom. And then if I exit out of there, we've got links down at the bottom here as well. So I've got a link to the invoice directly, the one that we saved into OneDrive. Click that and it should open up. There's that same invoice. And then if I click the other link, that'll open our invoices spreadsheet, and you'll be able to see all the invoices were sent out on today's date. Nothing's been paid yet, but as we enter those in, you'll see those 0 balances happen too. And then we've got our invoice links here as well. So if I was to click one of these, let's say this one, and I could see Vandalay Industries, their client number, and their billing information here. So I got an email for each one of those with its unique invoice here for a link and here, but this will always be static since it's just the spreadsheet where those invoices are listed. And you can see we've got 7 here, 1 for each of those rows. And it's as simple as that. Thank you for checking out this tutorial on generating invoices with Power Automate. We hope that you found it to be informative and helpful in streamlining your invoicing process. By utilizing the Microsoft Excel, Word, and Outlook connectors in a scheduled cloud flow in Power Automate, you can efficiently manage your invoicing tasks and save time for other important aspects of your business. Our tutorial covered every step of the process, including listing invoices with non-zero balances, retrieving client contact information based off of those invoices, populating invoice templates, converting them to PDF, storing those in OneDrive, and sending them off to the client via email. In addition to that, we've also demonstrated how to update your spreadsheet with the current invoice date and send a notification to yourself letting you know that the client was sent the invoice successfully. We would appreciate any questions and feedback or suggestions you may have in the comment section below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable tutorials on Power Automate and other Microsoft 365 products. Thank you for watching and have a successful invoicing process.